Welcome back. Tonight, I would like to introduce a very special guest. He has fought in World War II and in Vietnam, smashed through the sound barrier, and has escaped death numerous times. Everyone, please join me in welcoming General Chuck Yeager.
Thanks for inviting me.
No, thank you for coming in. You are a true American hero. As a true American hero, we wanted to share this interview with the American people. Therefore, we have compiled a list of questions we received via Twitter.
Sounds great.
For most of General Yeager's Air Force career...
Please call me Chuck.
Okay. For most of Chuck's Air Force career, he was an esteemed test pilot and the first person to fly supersonic. The first question for tonight is, what is it like to fly supersonic?
It is one of the craziest things I've ever done. The X-1 plane is shaped like a bullet, which was the only known man-made object to fly faster than the speed of sound. My plane was strapped to the bomb bay of a B-29 Superfortress and dropped at 20,000 foot.
Wait a second. You were dropped like a bomb?
Yup.
That's nuts. What did your wife think of that?
Well, she didn't know about it till it was declassified about 8 months later.
So, your wife didn't know that you were facing a potential brick wall in the sky?
Well, I wasn't supposed to fly past the speed of sound that day. Due to some technical issues, we were only supposed to fly at Mach 0.97, but with some luck and some help from some gravity, we ended up flying Mach 1.07, which is roughly 700 miles an hour.
That must have been the scariest moment of your life.
Well, this might surprise you, but the scariest moment in my life was when I was shot down by Germans over France.
Wait, you got shot down by Nazi Germany over France?
Yes, sir.
So, you're shot down, then what happens?
Well, luckily for me, instead of the German patrol that was searching after me, I got found by the French resistance. They hid me in a barn, covered me with some straw, because about an hour later, the German patrol came around looking in this old barn for me. Those silly Nazis, they never did find me.
That is crazy.
It was hella crazy. Then the French got me and another soldier, I think his name was Pat, to the base of the Pyrenees Mountains that border Spain. And from that point, it was just Pat and me crossing the mountains.
And that was it? You just crossed the mountains?
Well, no. We were chased by some Germans, and sadly, Pat got his leg shot off. Because of his injuries, he never did make it. It was one of the saddest days of my life, leaving him on the mountains. Fortunately, I was able to make it back to the American Embassy in Spain.
That is a remarkable story. Okay, the next tweet is, to whom do you attribute your success?
Well, there's a lot of people that could fit into this category. One person that comes to mind is President Eisenhower.
Eisenhower?
Yes, because he kept me in the war. See, if you were shot down by the Germans, you were ordered to go home. This was an order to protect the French underground. However, I just couldn't go home after just 8 missions, so I begged my way up to General Eisenhower. With some begging, he let me stay on one condition. He ordered that I never get shot down again. I was ecstatic. And I must say, my squadron members were pretty jealous that not only did I see Eisenhower, that I got to sit at his desk and talk to him.
I'm guessing by the fact that you stayed in the Air Force, you kept your end of the bargain.
Yes, sir, I did.
Excellent. Third question. Besides you breaking the sound barrier, what are some of your other accomplishments?
Well, a pilot is considered an ace if he gets 5 confirmed kills. I became an ace in a single mission, one of the first people to do so. I was also one of the first people to shoot down a Messerschmitt Me-262, which was the world's first jet. I also helped choose the first American astronauts.
You helped choose astronauts?
Oh yeah, I helped NACA, which later became NASA. I tested planes for them. Those NACA pilots thought they were the best of the best. But they didn't have any ground to stand on. Everyone knew fighter test pilots were the best. Oh, I almost forgot. I was one of the first Americans to fly a MiG-15.
How did you manage that? Isn't that a Soviet jet?
Yeah, but we had a defect from North Korea. And as one of the best test pilots in the Air Force, I was asked to come and figure out how to fly it. Boy, was that plane hard to fly. It would whip me in a nasty spin or flip me head over tail. Its aerodynamics were awful.
I'm sure the Air Force rewarded you with many medals.
Yes, I've earned the Legion of Merit, the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Purple Heart, as well as the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
You must have worked very hard on all those.
But I had fun doing it. I love to fly planes.
You must love to fly in order to do those crazy things. Okay, 2 more questions left. First, in your book, Yeager, an Autobiography, you talk about your trip to the USSR and how you got to meet the head of their Air Force. What was that like?
Well, if I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Come on, you already talked about it in your book.
Good point. Back in 1959, my friend Jackie invited me to go to the Federation Aeronautique Internationale in Moscow. The CIA took note. They thought it would be a huge advantage for someone who knew planes to be able to talk to the Soviet Air Force leaders. I got to be a spy for 3 weeks. They gave me intelligence briefing, maps, fake IDs, fancy cameras. Even the plane was rigged with false controls. Because once we were right over Serbia, the Soviet pilot had to take over and fly us into Moscow. This was in order to make sure we didn't fly over any restricted areas. However, he never knew we were controlling the plane from the back as we soared over those MiG bases.
Let me get this straight. You flew over restricted airspace without getting spotted?
Well, technically we didn't fly over, we just flew really close. Probably closer than we should have.
So did the Soviets ever find out about this?
Surprisingly, no. Even the KGB, who searched the plane from top to bottom the 3 weeks we were there, never did find any of the film or cameras.
What? Not only did you sneak past the Nazis, you snuck past the KGB?
Yep.
Amazing. Final question. Please tell us about your childhood and your early life.
Okay, I was raised in a small town, Hamlin, West Virginia. My family didn't live a very fancy life. Before school every morning, my brother and I would go out, hunt squirrels, and pick berries for supper later that day. I earned my high school diploma, but I never pursued college till later in my career. The thing that got me into airplanes and machinery was watching my dad. Boy, could he fix anything. I followed in his love of machines my entire career.
Wow. You really worked your way up from the bottom.
I like to think so.
Well, Chuck, I'd like to thank you for coming in tonight. It has been a pleasure and an honor having you this evening. Everyone, please give it up for General Chuck Yeager. Thank you.
B-29 Super Fortress and dropped at 20,000 feet. I think his name was Pat. To the base of the pristine mountains that border Spain.
Pyrenees Mountains.
Pyrenees Mountains.
Pyrenees.
Pyrenees.
Okay.